The Bible is the best-selling book in history, according to The Economist, with sales around 100 million each year, totaling around $425 to $650 million. Gideon's International gives away a Bible every second and is available in approximately 2,426 languages, covering 95% of the world's population. Also, The Economist notes that the Bible is almost 800,000 words long. With these statistics in mind, it is logical to consider that there are correlations in the study of modern natural science that are found in biblical scriptures. Research has shown that scientific facts support biblical scriptures regarding nature. In this presentation, research will establish that respected writers and scholars affirm that scientific facts support certain biblical writings concerning nature. The research will also state that scientific facts support biblical accounts for the beginning of time and matter, and finally that scientific facts support the biblical writings for the destiny of all matter. First, this presentation will establish that writers and scholars affirm that science supports the Bible. Dr. Ernest Lucas is a well-educated scholar who obtained an MA in chemistry from Oxford University and a PhD in chemistry from the University of Kent. Dr. Lucas is an ordained Baptist and is the vice principal at Bristol Baptist College. He has also received the Templeton Award for the course he teaches in the study of science and Christianity. Dr. Ernest Lucas wrote an article in the Journal for Science and Christian Belief stating there is no incompatibility between the biblically based classical Christian doctrine of creation and modern science, provided one understands the different levels at which science and theology work and the limitation this puts on each of them. Now that research has shown that educated scholars approve of the theory that science supports biblical scriptures, this diagram will illustrate two areas where science supports scripture. First, the diagram shows that NASA documents the beginning. In 2003, Dan Vergano, a writer for USA Today, wrote an article titled "NASA Peers Back to the Beginning of the Universe." In 2003, NASA made a discovery using a microwave probe. Evidence from this probe theorized the age of the universe since the Big Bang to be 13.7 billion years, as demonstrated by the microwaves traveling through space and time. The timeline in this diagram provides a representation that these findings also support a post-Big Bang expansion theory called inflation, which suggests the early universe grew to a faster than light speed to tremendous size in its earliest moments. NASA is one of the world's most recognized authorities on scientific exploration. This research clearly demonstrates that NASA supports a beginning. Considering the scientific theory that the beginning exists, it is logical to conclude that science supports the scripture from Genesis 1:1 in the King James Bible, which states, "In the beginning." Next, research in the lower illustration demonstrates that science documents the destiny of matter, which is attributed to the second law of thermodynamics. In a paper written by Dr. Gary Felder titled "Things Fall Apart: An Introduction to Entropy," Dr. Felder explains the concept of entropy as a characteristic of the second law of thermodynamics. Entropy is explained as a law of statistics, in which matter is described as statistically becoming more random and disordered. This illustration is a diagram of the spores which fall from a dandelion and are carried by the wind. And although it is not impossible for the spores of the dandelion to reattach to the stem from which they fell by some unusual act of wind and the elements, it is much more likely that they will simply fall to the ground in disorder. Dr. Felder explains that entropy is increasing in all matter to the point that the universe will experience a heat death when the universe is nothing but uniform weak radiation. This scientific law supports scriptures which are found in the Bible documenting that all matter will simply grow old. In Psalms 102 verses 25 and 26 of the King James Bible, it is written, "The heavens are the work of thy hands. They shall perish, but thou shalt endure. Yea, all of them shall wax old like a garment." Research has affirmed that scientific facts support biblical scriptures regarding nature by first establishing that science and biblical writings can coincide when studied by scientists and theologians. Second, by comparing scientific evidence from the Big Bang Theory with the biblical account of the beginning. And thirdly, by complementing the science of the destiny of matter with the biblical evidence of the progression of entropy. Considering that well-educated scholars and writers support the comparison of science and scriptures, it is evident that many areas of science study, including the beginning of time and the end of all matter, are addressed in both science and the Bible. With these facts in mind, it becomes evident that there is research which shows that scientific facts support biblical scriptures regarding nature. Are there any questions?
Yes. So many disagree that the Bible is true. What is your response for those who don't believe?
This research is not to prove if the Bible is true, nor is it a question of belief, but it is to document that some scriptures which refer to nature are supported by science.
Where did you get your references?
The King James Bible, which you can search at blueletterbible.com, the Internet, and WGU Academic Search Complete Database.
Are there other biblical scriptures that are supported by science?
Yes, dozens, maybe even hundreds, but are beyond the scope of this research.